This video provides 3 tips for dealing with negative thinking. I'm Helen from Creating Shifts with Helen, which is all about helping people to move from surviving to thriving. And I do that by combining quantum energy healing tools, cognitive behavioural therapy and inspired dance, which is why I'm dancing now. I like to dance while I'm making these videos just to give people a taster of what it involves. Because when people think about dancing, they might think about Strictly Come Dancing and doing real choreographed stuff, but it's not like that at all. So before we get into the tips for dealing with negative thinking, I want to quickly go through some of the negative thought loops that we can find ourselves in quite commonly. So one of those is dwelling on the past, thinking about what happened yesterday or last week and going over it, whether it was something unpleasant or an argument we had with somebody, something that we didn't do that well. All those things we can go over and over in our minds from the past. Another thing we can find ourselves doing is looping over something that's coming up in the future. So going over and over what we're going to say to somebody we might have had an argument with, or dreading an interview coming up and going over and over that. We can also find ourselves just in downright self-sabotage. So we might be caught in loops around, I'm rubbish at this, I never get things right, I always mess things up, I suck at fill in the blank. So those are some of the things that we can find ourselves doing when we're in negative thought loops. So the first tip that I'll share is when we've recognised we're in a negative thought loop, we can switch to gratitude. So starting to think about what we're grateful for, and the important thing with gratitude is that we actually feel it too, because that really supercharges it and changes our state. So if I'm thinking I'm really grateful for my family, my son, a lovely home, I might be thinking I'm grateful for my job, pays the bills, my animals and what they bring to my life. It's really about feeling it. So I'm so grateful for my family, I'm so grateful for a lovely home, I'm so grateful for my dogs. And it can be something big, something small. Once we start that ball rolling, we can come up with so many things that we've got in our life that we're grateful for, but it's really feeling it as well. And that can change our negative thought patterns and get us out of it real quickly. Another one is switching to thinking about positive what ifs. We can find ourselves naturally thinking about negative what ifs, like, oh no, what if I mess this up? What if there's traffic now when I'm on the way home from work and I get caught in it and I don't get back in time for something I've got planned? So we don't want to be doing those ones, but when we're in those negative thought loops, we can switch to positive what ifs, like, what if I have a lovely evening with my partner, we have some nice food and we just chill out? What if my launch goes really brilliantly and I get the people in who I can help and we work together and they get really big shifts in their life? What else? What if the interview I've got coming up goes really well and I sell myself and get the job? And yeah, once we get into those, we can just get really creative. So that's another one that can stop our negative thought loops, and again that like lifts our state as well. It elevates us into a better state, a better mood. The other thing we can do when we find ourselves in a negative thought loop is call it out. So if we find ourselves in self-sabotage, I can just stop to myself, I can just think to myself, hang on, I don't think this anymore. That's a pattern I used to get involved in, but I don't do it anymore, and I refuse to do it now. Really just like calling it out and stopping it. So I might be thinking, oh, I'm rubbish at IT and all the tech stuff, it really holds me back. And if I find myself doing that, I might say, hang on, I used to think that, but I don't think that anymore. I'm actually learning IT and picking up tech stuff every day, so I'm getting better. Notice I can't just flip it to I'm great at tech, because I don't believe that and it's not true, but just shifting it over that bit can really help. So another one might be we just are thought looping, going over and over an argument that we had, or even going over the argument but thinking about the next time we're going to speak to that person and what they're going to say and what I'm going to say and what they're going to respond. If we find ourselves doing something like that, again, it's calling it out. It's like, hang on, whoa, this is doing me no good. I'm not going to continue with this. And that's a pattern I'm just not willing to get involved in anymore. And then it might be about distracting ourselves to make sure that we don't slip back into it. So those are 3 tips that change negative thinking really quickly. They're really effective and they elevate our state and our mood. So they make us feel better as a kind of byproduct. So what they do as well is they improve our overall well-being, because getting into those negative thought loops, they bring us down, they bring our state right down, and if we're doing it all the time, yeah, absolutely we can get into low mood, even moving towards depression. So by stopping those and changing them, it really helps to change our state on a day-to-day basis. So you can get more from me on my website. Check that out. The link is in the description, and there's also a free resource that can help you to start tuning into the beliefs that you have that are holding you back and keeping you stuck. So make sure you download that, and I will be back with more soon.